If you're installing vinyl plank, there's definitely going to be some differences whether you're on concrete or a wood subfloor. And that's what this video is going to be about. We're going to cover a lot of these things inside here. I'm going to share some things with you that I think are really going to help you make your job a lot easier and go a lot smoother and faster. Okay, so let's talk about vapor barriers in this video. We get a lot of questions about vapor barriers. Do you need them? How should I use them? What do I do? What kind do I use? Let's talk about those. Also, I'm going to talk to you about pad or an underlayment of some sort. Can you use it? Do you use it? Whether you have an attached pad already to your plank. This has a vapor barrier also, and it has these fibers on the back, which we're going to really talk about how this is a great product. I also want to talk to you about how this glue gun, using this glue gun and these glue sticks can save you a ton of time on your project and make your job a lot easier. And if you're on a concrete slab, you're really going to want to see this. Also, we're going to talk about hammer drills. Do you need one? Can you use one? Can you drill into your concrete? You still need to have a drill for on wood also. So anyway, we're going to talk about how these all are going to come into play, and I have a lot more inside this video, so let's watch. If you've seen any of my videos, you know that I like to secure the floor. I take scrap pieces, I secure the floor after I get a couple of rows done, and we build this nice solid foundation to work off of. The other reason why I do this is because I like to avoid cutting in difficult things, like this fireplace, for example. You've seen how I started in front of it. I have this baseboard heat. This, could you imagine starting back in this and right here on this first piece and figuring out what that would be and then working your way out away from that along this fireplace? It just really makes it a lot simpler to come back and put these rows in. You can see how easy it's going. It's not too bad. This is what I would consider working backwards. It's instead of sliding the tongue into the groove, you're putting the groove into the tongue. So it's a little slower, but once you get to this last part where you're cutting in the walls around doors, things like this, those vents that you've seen that I have, the baseboard heat, it makes it so much nicer to be able to come and do this and make these cuts and not have to worry about them being short or long or coming apart when I'm trying to put it together. Now here's another example that where I like to secure the floor. I'm coming out of a kitchen and a living room into a hallway, and I'm going down that hallway and I'm putting this plank together. You've seen how nicely I'm doing that. And the reason why is because I secured the floor out here too. After I came out with the first row there, I went along, got it straight with a line that I snapped, and then we secured it with screws. You've seen how I did that. Now I'm down at the end of the hallway here where it jogs and goes another way. Well, that would be working backwards also. I'm going to do that later. And so I'm securing the floor here. After I get it nice and straight with my line, I'm going to secure this floor also. It's also just going to make things a lot easier for me to come back and finish that out later. You can see how solid that was after I was hitting that with my hands. Now I want to talk to you a little bit about what if you were on concrete here, what would you do? Well, for example, this drill that I have is also a hammer drill. And you can hear it when I do this. Let me come out a little bit. So you heard that? That's a hammer drill. That's what you need. This is a cement board screw. It's just 1 1/4 inches. I got a square bit on it. This is a 3/16 masonry bit. And all I'm going to do is drill in. I'll just get it started here. And then I'm just going to drill it with my impact here. Now I'm not going to try to kill it. I'm just going to get it secured. I don't want to break the head off of it. That's it. It's that simple to just drill into the concrete and secure your floor also with the same exact way that I would do it on wood. Okay, a little trick that you can also use here, if that 3/16 drill bit that you're drilling, pre-drilling the holes to put screws in, if the screw doesn't want to hold to it and it breaks away or keeps spinning while you're screwing, you can just take a wood shim. That's all I'm doing is cutting off the end of it. And then you can just take your knife or whatever you have and just cut a little tiny chunk off. And And then you'll just stick that right in the hole. And then you take your screw and you put it on one side of it and just get it in there. One little hand tighten there, and then that'll hold your screw in. So that's just a little trick if your 3/16 bit is a little too big. Okay, so you can see how you'd be able to use the hammer drill to do these methods that I show in my videos on how to secure the floor. Now I know some of you are thinking, okay Joe, that's great, but I can't drill into my concrete. Why can't you? I'll be honest with you, for the past 30 years of installing, there's not a concrete that I haven't been able to drill into. Now, everything that you might hit is going to be tucked way down inside that concrete. We're only drilling into the concrete about an inch. That's it. And what you can do to ensure that you only drill an inch into that concrete is most of the time these hammer drills are going to come with a guide that you can use, that you can put it down. So that you only go a certain depth and then the guide hits the floor, kind of like what you've seen earlier in this video. Now the other thing that you can do is you can take the screw that you use, put it up against your drill bit, make a mark on that drill bit with a marker, and then you can wrap some tape around that so that you know that that's the depth that you need to go and that's where you would stop. Now I use blue tape in this example just so that you could see it. I like to use duct tape for the most part, so go ahead and wrap that with some duct tape. Now I want to talk to you a little more about this hammer drill. Now you don't need to go and get a super expensive hammer drill. I bought this hammer drill about 5 years ago for 30 bucks. I bought it at Harbor Freight Tools. Now check your drill that you might have at home, your battery powered drill. This one is a drill, it's also a screw gun, and it's a hammer drill. So I have 3-in-1 in this one. You might already have a hammer drill, you just don't know it. You just need to check and see, okay? And by the way, this Milwaukee, nice drill. Very happy with my Milwaukee tools. All right, so there is another way to do this, so I want to talk to you about that now. Now, this is a special type of glue stick that you can buy. Now, this glue stick right here is meant to stick to vinyl plank. It's also meant to stick to concrete. Okay, it's a special formulated glue. It has a, if you squirt it on the floor, it says it has a 180-second open time. Okay, which is 3 minutes. Now, if you're putting it on ice cold concrete, it's not going to last that long, but it still will have some open time where, like a normal glue stick, crafting glue stick, you squirt that on the floor, it's going to harden right away. It's not going to stick to anything. These are worth their weight in gold. You can use this for lots of different things other than just what I'm showing you here. You can use this also to attach your transitions to help you with that. Other things. I use this for stuff around the house too, just so you know. Now you do need somewhat of a special type of glue gun, but not anything super special. This right here is a 200-watt glue gun, okay? It accepts a 1/2-inch glue stick. That's the most important thing. You just need to make sure you buy a glue gun that accepts a 1/2-inch glue stick, because that's how big these ones are. This, though, is a high-output 200-watt glue gun. You can buy it on Amazon. I'll leave a link below for this so that you can check it out. It's a good glue gun, and it's a prime item, just so you know, but the output that I'm talking about, it means that you're going to be able to continually squeeze the trigger and get glue without waiting for it to heat up. Okay, so if you found a 1/2-inch glue gun that wasn't a high output, you could still use that. Just know though, you're not going to be able to do several piles of glue at once to be able to, you know, keep up. The glue isn't going to be able to keep up with your hand squeezing the trigger. So that's why I like the high output glue gun. What you can do here is you can squirt a pile of glue on the floor, size of a quarter or Hershey's Kiss size, and you just set your plank down into the glue. And then after about 5 minutes, it's hard where you won't be able to move the floor then. So it's going to secure your floor for you just like you are doing with the screws. Then later on, you're just going to pry that piece up, you're going to pull it out of the way, and then you can scrape that glue right up off the floor. Now, there are other situations that you can use this if you feel like you can't screw the floor down for some reason, okay? I know some of you are still not going to listen to what I'm saying and go ahead and screw it, drill it. You're going to want to try something else. You can use this, and I'm going to show you right now on this drawing on how you can. Okay, here's a drawing of the house that we've been working on. I've showed you a few videos, parts of the videos on it. Down here is where we secured the floor with those screws. Now down here, just so you know, you could secure all of these pieces with that glue method I just showed you. Okay, now the glue method is a lot faster. I still like to use the drill bit, the drill and the glue method. If this is on concrete, I would have glued all of these pieces, and then other places I'd use my drill. Okay, mainly because of speed. Okay, because this is a lot faster to go ahead and glue than it is to drill, especially when the glue sets up in like 5 minutes. So imagine with me now that we're up to this point right here. We have all of this floor all throughout here done already. Here's the row that's leading up to coming into this bedroom. And so what we want to do is we want to get a line snapped inside here that we're going to be able to use to keep our plank straight. So all I do is I measure in a certain amount. Now, I'm trying to clear the closet here. So, and also I'm trying to get it past this wall enough so that when I come around here with some plank, that my line isn't going to get covered right away. So I want to have a line up here a little bit. So I'm just going to measure up. Maybe I'm just going to say it's 8 feet. Make a mark. I measure from this mark to the wall. Whatever that distance is, let's say it was 3 feet. I'll come down here and measure out 3 feet. And then I'll make a mark there. Now I'll snap a line all the way through into the closet. Of course, you want to hit your marks perfectly. So now we have a chalk line snapped all the way through. Now I want to take some scrap pieces and I want to hook them on to the plank that we already have installed here. Now you need to have a locking system on both sides, meaning a lock here so you can connect to this plank, and then we need the locking system up here. Okay, it doesn't matter if these are cut on the ends. That's no big deal. So once you get those attached, now you want to start attaching plank to these scraps. And you want to extend this plank all the way down to the very end. Okay? And so what our goal is here is to get this all completely straight before you mark and cut this last piece. So I would just come where the floor is solid, because we're building off of this floor right here that's already been done. So right here it's nice and solid. So measure from here to the line. Whatever that distance is, let's say it's 7 feet, 6 inches. Okay, get all of this at 7 feet, 6 inches, and then you can mark and cut and install this last piece. Okay, do that so you don't miscut it. Now once you've done that, now you take your cheater board and you'll mark this wall and this wall out onto these plank. Now if you don't know what the cheater board is, I've got another video that you can watch that's going to walk you through all of this if a lot of this is seeming foreign to you. I'll leave a link for that at the very end. So that you can go and check out that video to make sense of a lot of these things. Now I would take this apart after I marked it with my cheater board, go cut it, come on back in and install it. Now I'm not going to install all of this. I'm going to take some of these pieces and put them off to the side. But what I am going to do is I'm going to install the pieces that go through the door jamb, through the door. You want to clear the door. Okay, once you clear the door, now the rest of these pieces can be left out. Okay, so what you can do now is start your next row then. And again, you want to just take these last few pieces that you cut and put them off to the side. Go ahead, connect this row to these plank that you already have installed and start installing this down the rest of the way. Okay, and again, get this all straight before you mark and cut this last piece here. Now once you get these installed, now you want to measure again from here up to the line. Whatever that distance is, let's say it's 7 feet now. Okay, we would get all of this 7 feet. Then we would take some glue that I showed you from that glue gun, stick it on the floor here, and then we'd put a scrap right here and connect it. Now this should be good enough, this scrap, to keep all of this area solid for you. Okay, and then you would go ahead and keep measuring after you get it straight. Glue another scrap down, and then so on every joint you want to do this, okay? And on the ends. Now you don't have anything holding this piece down here, and this is like 2 feet, I would say. So that could be loose in here. So you're going to probably have to use one of those spacers to try to hold this in for you while you're working the rest of this room. Okay, so that's one way that you can continue to use this glue gun. So you can see how nice this glue gun would be in these glue sticks, how much easier it's going to make it for you and how helpful it will be, right? And then, you know, it's going to eliminate from you having to use those spacers, at least most of them, right? There's a spot there that I showed you where you'd need to use a spacer. Now, if you do need to use a spacer, here's a spacer that I like that I would use. You're going to get a lot more stability with this, the way it sits up against the wall, and then it also sits on top of your plank. It's going to stop the plank from moving as much as it would with like those other spacers I showed you earlier. It's not going to take away total movement, but it's going to help a lot. And if you're going to have to use a spacer, you might as well use one that's going to somewhat work, right? Or that's going to work. So anyway, I want to talk to you about moisture barriers now. They come in all sorts of shapes, sizes, and colors, don't they? I'm going to tell you what I would do, and I want you then to make a decision on your own on what you would do. Well, first off, if you have a laminate floor, absolutely use a moisture barrier of some sort. Whether it's one that's attached to a pad or not, you absolutely should use a moisture barrier over the top of a concrete slab, because your laminate is going to get damaged from moisture if you don't. Even if it says it's water resistant, still use a moisture barrier if you're using a laminate. Now, I'd use a quiet walk pad is what I would use, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. But the moisture barrier is, it's, first of all, it's not treated with anything unless you buy one that's special, right? Okay, so vinyl plank is 100% waterproof, so explain to me why you need to use a moisture barrier. To prevent mold and mildew? Well, if you are going to prevent mold and mildew, why wouldn't you just have the vinyl plank up against the concrete then? Because it's treated with an antimicrobial treatment. The vapor barrier isn't. So if you put that vapor barrier down on the floor and now it sucks down to the floor like you glued it when it gets wet, what's going to happen? Is there going to be mold and mildew underneath that? Sure, it might be trapped underneath the vapor barrier, but there's still going to be mold and mildew, right? Here's the other thing. When you put a plank together, it has a channel. Sorry about the dog here. It has a channel that it leaves. So every 5 inches, 7 inches, 9 inches, however wide your plank is, there's a channel there that's going to allow the plank or the concrete to breathe. Okay? Now I know that seems minute, but there's something there, right? And so I personally don't use a vapor barrier. I've never used one unless I'm using a pad, and I have never had a problem. Okay, so with that being said, now I want to talk to you about something else. If you have a plank with a pad attached to it already, can you use another pad that has a vapor barrier attached? Now the answer is, I've always said, unless you have a plank with a durable locking system, I would not use another vinyl. I would not use an additional pad. Okay, now over the past few years, there's been plank manufacturers that are stepping up saying that they want you to use an additional pad. Okay, not all of them, some of them say don't. But if you have a locking system that's brittle, like this one, I'd be very careful with what I use. And when I say brittle, I mean, look at, it's like a potato chip, right? That is not a good locking system. If you get a vinyl plank and you bring it home and you find out the locking system is that brittle, run back to the store with that and get yourself your money back and go find another plank. Now, over the past couple of years, Quiet Walk, which is a product I use, I've talked about it, you've seen this in many of my videos, okay, this blue stuff. This is what I use. Now, this particular stuff is meant for laminate, wood, and that's what they designed it for. It's a little thicker. Now, they've came out with something recently that's thinner, that's meant for vinyl plank. This has been around for a few years now. I used this on a job that I did for my son-in-law. Works great. He hasn't had a problem yet. This is a lot thinner. And on their packaging and on their website, they're saying that this can be used under all vinyl plank with an attached pad. Now, if Quiet Walk is going to back this pad underneath any vinyl plank, I'm going to back using Quiet Walk. I've been using that for years. I trust them. And it's a great product, and I'm going to tell you a few things about it right now, why I think it is a great product. First of all, listen to this. Here's the sound deadening part of it. Could you tell the difference? All right, so it has these fibers on the back of it. And like I said, this is a thinner version than their other one. So it's not gonna compress like the other one will, or have cush like the other one will. So you're gonna be safe with your locking system with this stuff, okay? The other thing is these fibers right here, they provide several things. First of all, they've been treated with an antimicrobial treatment, so it's gonna prevent mold and mildew. This is where you get your sound deadening from. This is also gonna wick moisture away. It's going to allow the concrete slab to breathe. It's going to allow your wood subfloor to breathe because of these fibers. Okay, so very nice. Now, if you have a heated floor, this has a very low R value. It won't affect your in-floor heat at all. This also will help you to keep your vinyl plank a little warmer in the winter. Okay, it's just going to feel a lot better. Just all of the same benefits of the normal Quiet Walk Plus, just meant for vinyl plank. And I just really like this product. So you can do with what you want. Like I said, as far as what I do, this is what I would do. I would not use a moisture barrier. I'd use this Quiet Walk meant for vinyl luxury vinyl plank. And that's what I would go with. All right, one more thing with this moisture barrier. So these pieces that you're gluing down, whether you're using a moisture barrier or some sort of a pad like Quiet Walk or whatever it is that you might use, to glue this, you're going to have to just cut a little hole out. Just cut a little hole out where you're going to put the glue and then stick the scrap right on the top of that, okay? Then later on, you can take that scrap and then tape that hole. So if you have your hole here, you just take a piece of tape and you'll just cover that hole with a piece of tape. Okay, done. Sealed again. No problem whatsoever. Now, where you might find some other problems too is like when you're having chalk lines that might get covered by a moisture barrier or some pad before you're done using them. You can just cut that pad back or that moisture barrier back away from the line. And then once you're done with the line, like securing the floor here, just go ahead and put your moisture barrier back and run a piece of tape right over the spot that you cut. Okay, now where that might be the biggest problem is like in a hallway when you're trying to keep something straight in a hallway that has a line snap that you're trying to use. That is a spot where you're going to have to tape that. Or you'll have to cut the pad away so that you can see this line the entire time that you need it. Okay, so if you have to cut your vapor barrier, you can use a clear packing tape or you can use duct tape. Now you can use either with the Quiet Walk, I guess. With just a normal plastic vapor barrier, I'd probably use just a clear packing tape and not the duct tape. But with Quiet Walk, you can use either or. Just wanted to let you know that. So very simple to just cut that and then have to put it back together without any issue or any worries whatsoever. Okay, so the video that I was telling you about throughout this, that I would share a link with you, is called How to Install Vinyl Plank and Laminate Without Losing Your Mind. Now, if there's some things in this video that didn't quite make sense here, that video is one to go and turn to because it brings you through an entire plank installation from start to finish, from demo to putting on transitions. And that will help you a lot. I know it will give you a lot of great tips, get your feet wet, ready to dive into your plank installation. So go check that out. And if you like it, hit that like button over there while you're there. Now, these links that I'm sharing with you, these are all products that I use and I believe in. And I'll put the links below so you can go check them out. If you do happen to use any of these, I do want you to know that I do make a small commission on them. So if you decide to use them, I appreciate it very much. And if not, hey, that's fine. If you can find something that you like, go off of what I kind of based here to look for something similar. All right. I just want to pray for you. I pray that God blesses you through your projects. I pray that He gives you confidence, takes your fear away from being overwhelmed on taking on something that you've never done before. I pray that He gives you wisdom and knowledge to be able to find the answers that you need while you're doing your project. And I pray that he gives you the skills that you're going to need to be able to do this. And I pray for these things in Jesus' name. Now listen, I like to pray for you guys, and I pray that he also blesses you and your families. And I do pray for that in Jesus' name. If there's anything that you could pray for me for, hey guys, I'm trying to quit smoking. Pray for me, would you? Pray for my family. And I really do appreciate it. Hey, listen, if you liked this video, please hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. And I will see you on the next video. I'm Joe Latender. Have a great day.